Carly Lloyd giving the US the perfect start against Japan. Just 8 minutes in, 8 minutes into the second half, she did it again, and this time there was going to be no way back for Japan. It was the Pia leap on the sideline, the gold medal for the 4th time in 5 Olympic Games. And it leads to this, the 3rd stop on the victory tour, the fans' tribute tour. And for the 2nd time in 4 days, it's the United States being greeted like rock stars, as they are wherever they go nowadays, Jules.
The screeching is at a high pitch. It's so fun to see with this team, and in the contrast of 4 years ago when it wasn't nearly as loud.
Australia beaten 2-1 just 4 days ago at the Home Depot Center in LA. In terms of the team news, well, the key players, the familiar names, Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan up front, Hope Solo in goal. 2 changes overall, though, for Pia Sundhage from that team in LA. And
of course, we're looking at Alex Morgan. What a year she's had. 22 goals in 23 games. Youngest player to ever score 20 goals in 1 year. She has been just phenomenal for the United States. And for Australia, they're going to line up in the same 4-3-3 formation. 3 changes to their lineup. But play close attention to Sarah Walsh, number 9 up top. She's playing in her final international game. She's announced her retirement. 2nd leading scorer with 37 goals for Australia.
But of course, it's not just a celebration, it's also a farewell for Pia Sundhage. Nearly 5 years in charge, and what a record she leaves behind. 90 victories since she took over in January 2008, just 6 defeats. And what about the titles along the way? Those 2 Olympic golds in Beijing and again in London. The near miss in Germany in the 2011 World Cup, and 3 Algarve Cups along the way. And it poses the bigger question, Julie, what's her legacy that she leaves behind?
Well, I think her legacy is obviously her success, but on top of that, she brought laughter. She's dancing on the sidelines. She's celebrating. There's joy. And so I think that mentality brought a calmness to the team in moments of adversity when they go behind. I mean, we've seen the last 2 years how many times this team's been able to pull out wins when people think they shouldn't. And that has been so endearing and fun to watch. And I think that's Pia Sundhage.
Pia Sundhage just a few minutes ago spoke to the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. That's Monica Gonzalez.
Pia, this is it. 90 minutes to go. What's going through your mind and what's going through your heart?
Mind the 2 times 45 minutes. Australia will play 4-3-3, I guess, and the way we're going to play against them. But it's very emotional. This will be my last time with the guys, and it is mixed feelings. At the same time, I'm pretty good at being present, so I'm looking forward to 2 times 45 minutes and have another good game.
When you look back 5 years ago, you took this team. It was between generations. They were struggling to find an identity. What would you say were the breakthroughs that allowed this team to get to where they are now?
I think we brought out the best performers in each other. We, you create that environment and blend the new generation with the old one, and we played well at times. And with my positive glasses, my glass is half full, I brought up the good things that happened, and we just continue to do that over and over again.
Thank you for your time, Pia.
Well, whoever follows Pia Sundhage will have the 2015 World Cup in Canada on the horizon, Jules.
Yeah, 3 years for the new coach, and this is the phase where they need to start looking at younger players as well, because with the recent news that a lot of the senior players on the national team are retiring, look at their ages at the summer of 2015. So getting the right balance of experience and younger kids is going to be critical for that new coach.
This is Pia Sundhage's swan song. She will be some act to follow, not just for her results, but for the personality she brought to the role. Third stop on the fans' tribute tour for the United States women's team. It's Australia who are the opponents again, and we start with the national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and kindly remove your hat for the playing of the national anthem of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by Mr. Ryan Bowman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wonderfully sung by Ryan Bowman. The last time Pia Sundhage will hear it as the US women's national team coach. Can she go out on a high? We'll be right back. Yes, the one back, and Morgan show rolls on to Denver tonight. Third stop on the United States Victory Tour. Australia again, the opponents. They're managed by a canny Scotsman, Tom Sermanni, 58 years old, at the helm since December of 2004. Many people think he's in the frame to perhaps replace Pia Sundhage, who's coaching for the last time. Game number 107 for her will be her last. She took over in November of 2007, coached her first game a couple of months later. What a contrast the two goalkeepers provide tonight. One of the most recognizable figures in all of sport now, Hope Solo, winning cap number 127. And winning cap number 3, her opposite number tonight, Brianna Davey, who's perhaps fourth choice when it comes to Australian goalkeepers. But we're underway. Adrian Healy and Julie Foudy here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. And for the second time in 4 days, Australia will be looking to test the mettle of this United States team. They did so, very much so, Jules, at the Home Depot Centre on Sunday. A 2-1 victory, narrow victory for the US, and Australia really perhaps had the best of things for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, and especially that first 25. Hit the post twice, got him behind the United States, so they're going to want, the US is going to want a much faster start to this game.
It's Carly Lloyd and Lauren Cheney, who are the midfield duo centrally tonight for the US. No Shannon Box again. She came off the bench to score the winner from the penalty spot on Sunday. Amy Lepelbet's in your picture, continuing at right back. She played at the entire World Cup in 2011 as a left back. Just the third visit ever by the United States women's national team to the state of Colorado. I was quite surprised to read that, Julie. They beat Brazil here by a goal to nil in July of 2008, and in September of 1999, a different sort of victory tour, a 6-0 win against Brazil at Mile High Stadium. I'm sure you remember that.
I could barely breathe. That's how I remember that. Denver's a great soccer area. So much enthusiasm with the fans here every time we have come to play.
Here's Christy Rampone. Back to Hope Solo. Australia have never beaten the United States. The US leading the all-time series with 20 victories, just 2 ties or draws along the way. That's one of the changes in the starting lineup tonight. Heather O'Reilly.
And with the way Australia lines up with their 4-3-3, they pinch in that midfield. So there is going to be a ton of space on the flanks tonight.
Now Alex Morgan unleashed for the first time. Trying to cut it back behind the backtracking defenders. While we have a moment, let's take a look at our Gatorade primed to perform. Fueled by Gatorade. Who is primed tonight, Julie?
Well, none other than the one we've been talking about a lot because of this. 22 goals, Alex Morgan. 13 assists, both lead the team this year in 23 games. Youngest player ever to score 20 goals in a year for the U.S. team. I mean, she has just had such a breakout year. And I give Pia tremendous credit because there were so many people clamoring last year for her to start. And she kept holding off, bringing her in as a sub, even at the World Cup, and said she needs a little bit more time. And how many times in different soccer players' careers have we seen coaches push players too early?
Remember that clamoring well, Julie. It was almost deafening, in fact, the calls for Alex Morgan to start. First chance for Australia to stretch their attacking muscles, and here's their main weapon, perhaps, Lisa Davana. She's so speedy and such a menace. She showed in LA on Sunday. A terrific goal she scored. US haven't got this clear. It's Tegan Allen across to Sarah Walsh. Big night for Sarah Walsh, equally like Pia Sundhage. It is the end of a particular chapter of her career. Sarah Walsh hanging up her boots tonight. It'll be her last appearance for the Matildas. She's on the ball now, wearing number 9. 37 goals for her in 75 appearances.
I talked to Australian coach Tom Sermani about Sarah Walsh yesterday, and he said it's amazing she's actually even able to play because her knees are so bad that she can't even pass the ball by opening up her hips. She has to actually drive the ball to pass it. But she's hung on and trained and gotten fit again and kept coming back year in and year out. But this is going to be it for her. She said she wants to walk when she's 35. Her knees are just giving out on her.
And as Tom put it, she spent more time in the gym than on the field in the last 4 years. A tremendous example to all the other Australian players. Patrick Bueller finding Kelly O'Hara. And Christy Rampone. Interesting talking to her yesterday as well, and possibly she might continue through the next World Cup cycle. Here's Tobin Heath. O'Hara trying to weight that cross to perfection, and didn't do a bad job with it, Kelly O'Hara. Abby Morgan couldn't quite get on the end of it.
And a good early sign for the United States, because this is what they're going to be looking for all night, is the switch to the opposite flank. And this is Kelly O'Hara, an outside back, getting into that space, which, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be wide open all evening with that 4-3-3 the Australians play. Critical for both Kelly O'Hara and Amy Lapelva to step into those spaces offensively.
Sold out here, just outside Denver. The third stop on this fans tribute tour. The 8-0 victory against Costa Rica in Rochester opened up the tour. Oh, it's a problem for Brianna Davey. She didn't get a touch on that. It's fallen for Tobin Heath. Heath working on Caitlin Ford. Help provided by O'Hara. She gives it away.
How's that for a ball across your box for Davey, the 17-year-old, and only her third cap? Deal with that one. right in front of your goal mouth.
Australian coach Tom Samani went out to 3 first-choice goalkeepers. The 3 that went to the last World Cup, all unavailable for different reasons. Ecstatic reaction wherever this team has travelled around the country. It continues here. So does the Australian menace with Tegan Allen dishing it off for Sarah Walsh. Colette McCallum, who's described as an exquisite passer, and her coach Stephanie Catley on to Davana. She gets it back, the young fullback. Well, they won't back down to anyone, Australia. Reputations, Tom Samani talked about this, mean absolutely nothing to some of these young players.
The beauty of youth, right? Ignorance is bliss.
Catley's throw, finally Claire Simon, who's inserted into the starting lineup tonight. Got a chance to push forward here for Tobin Heath. It's Morgan. Anticipating a run from Abby Wambach that didn't materialise.
This will be a wonderful matchup on the left side of the field for the United States. Alex Morgan is taking on another young star in the game globally, Caitlin Ford, 17-year-old, the right back for Australia. Voted best young player of the tournament actually last year at the Women's World Cup. Tons of promise in her as well.
Yeah, the 2 young fullbacks for Australia, Catley, who wears 19, Caitlin Ford, who wears 7, very much the jewels in the young crown for the Matildas. Christy Rampone outside to Heather O'Reilly. It's the 25th game of the calendar year in 2012 for the United States. And of the previous 24, they've won 22 of them. 1 draw and 1 defeat. And only defeat coming against Japan. Good move here down the right-hand side. It's cleared by Caitlin Ford, only as far as Tobin Heath. Cheney tried to help it on. Eventually the attack breaks down.
What a nice run by Christy Rampone, center back for the United States. You don't see those 2 center backs for the U.S. Bueller and Rampone typically are the starting center backs getting forward much. I would love to see that more often, especially Christy Rampone, who started her career, was discovered at Monmouth College as a star forward.
Christy Rampone actually made her national team debut against Australia. And played down in Melbourne back in 1997. Here's Abby Wambach on the prowl. But there was an offside flag up against Wambach. 5 goals in 5 straight games at the Olympic Games. First player ever to do that. Caitlin Ford.
And already just 10 minutes in, a much better start for the U.S. than Sunday against Australia, where they were on their heels a little bit.
Caitlin Ford there reminds me of her 2nd game ever for the Australians. That last summer's World Cup was against Brazil, where she had to face Marta one-on-one. How about that for an assignment as a 16-year-old?
But the beauty is, at that age, she probably didn't even know who Marta was, right?
Here's Davana. This time Catley was offside. Sarah Walsh and Stephanie Catley, who actually works part-time in a soccer store selling cleats. That's the reality for some of these players who play in the W League, the Australian semi-professional league. She plays in Melbourne for the Victory.
And it's the reality for a lot of the players globally. That's where the U.S. sets itself apart, as they are all full professionally players. They don't have a second job. This is what they do.
Wambach. Raking wide past to Tobin Heath, who has the inside track. It's a lovely shimmying move from Tobin Heath. He was denied the chance to shoot by the efforts of Colette McCallum, who's down hurt following that challenge. But Australia are pressing on here. They've got a counter-attack chance. Good recovery work. Tobin Heath seeing a lot of the ball in the early stages of this one. Perhaps trying to force the issue there a little with the Wambach in her sights. They've won it back now, and Wambach is found this time, but she can't find the back of the net. Alex Morgan picked her out beautifully.
And I think that's one of the more underrated parts of Alex Morgan's game. Is she's not only a finisher, she's become a wonderful provider and playmaker. 13 assists on the year to lead the team. And look at this ball that she just threads in to Abby Wambach, who lets it come across her body instead of taking it with her favored left foot. But that's where she has become excellent as well.
Alex Morgan, alongside those 22 goals in this calendar year, has 13 assists. She leads the team in that department too.
And you knew when you were watching Alex Morgan from a young age that she always had the gift. She had the speed. She could finish. But you always wondered, you know, how long it would take to refine it. And I'm surprised at how quickly she's gotten there. Because when she's around goal, she has an incredibly soft touch. And we've seen she can score big goals in huge moments. And as anyone knows who follows the game, those are the type of players you want on the field at all times.
Servette Uzenla standing over this for Australia. First real piece of work for Hope Solo. She was under some duress as well as that free kick floated in towards her. McCallum for Australia. Unlike the United States games have been relatively few and far between for Australia this year. They played an Olympic send-off game in Japan where they lost 3-0. Hope Solo in your picture was closing in on Brianna Scurry's shutout record for the United States goalkeepers. Just 6 behind her. 10 shutouts as well for Hope Solo in this calendar year. Devana. Taken down by Carly Lloyd. Quarter of an hour gone in Denver. Lisa Devana, described as a pressure cooker by her coach Tom Samani. You never quite know what to expect from her, when she's going to let off steam and how she's going to do it, both on and off the pitch.
She's mercurial.
Click on header, almost proved to be profitable. Pia Simon couldn't get onto it, but now Alex Morgan can. And she only has one defender to beat, Uzenla. Can she stay with Morgan? Well, she got the challenge in. Morgan twisting one way than the other, but couldn't shed Servette Uzenla.
And for Australia, that's the last thing you want to see, is one player back and a counterattack with Alex Morgan going at you. And give credit to Uzenla, how well she did to stay on her feet, keep her in front of her, slow her down.
US still on the front foot here, though, trying to make things happen. Again, it didn't quite break for Morgan at the near post. Uzenla, who's spent some time in the US playing in the W League with Pally Blues. United States' only defeat this year to Japan. That came in the Algarve Cup in March. And their only draw also against Japan. That was a month later in April. The Kirin Club played in Japan as Alex Morgan almost pounced on the weak clearance. Some tough tackling from Lloyd and Cheney, winning the ball back for the US. Those two meetings with Japan, just the prelude to the one that really mattered, the Olympic final at Wembley Stadium. And the gold medal that resulted is what we're now here celebrating. The Aussies, well, they love a party, they love spoiling a party too. Love nothing better, in fact. O'Reilly choosing the outside route. And waiting for her was Danielle Brogan, another inexperienced defender tonight for Australia, just her 4th cap. Didn't play in the first game on Sunday. It reaches Alex Morgan, goes to work on the turn.
And the U.S. doing a much better job tonight of putting early pressure on the ball, because if they can make sure the outside backs for Australia are not getting any attacking options going forward, they're winning the ball in their own half and then they're just shoving it right back down.
Well, Alex Morgan admitted yesterday, Julie, she's having a tough time dealing with Pia leaving. Says she hasn't been able to talk to her about it, hasn't really even been able to acknowledge that it's actually happening.
Yeah. I think it's an emotional time for Pia as well. I asked her yesterday, you know, how does it feel with this being the end of it? And she said, you know, I don't know how to thank them. That's been the hardest thing for me is how to get that across into words, because I feel they've given me so much over 5 years.
As you see, she's going to be taking over a Swedish national team job, but officially on December the 1st. Sweden, one of the bright lights in European women's football. They'll be hosting the 2013 Euros this next summer. In many ways, a dream job for her to go back to. It is actually, incidentally, the first time the US women's national team coach has left the job to go and coach another country.
And that just seems perfectly fitting, doesn't it? After the various jobs she's had, coaching professionally, coaching the U.S., as you said, Adrian, to go back to her home. And it's an excellent team.
Sweden, the side that knocked Australia out of the last World Cup, reached the semi-final where they fell to Japan. It's Tobin Heath who's taken a fall here.
High tackle, actually.
There's Tegan Allen.
Coming in with that second leg, getting her.
Tobin Heath, another younger United States player, has really flourished under Pia Sundhage. Here's Morgan to one back. Might break here for Heather O'Reilly. It does. Drives it back across the face of goal. All it needed was a touch, but it wasn't forthcoming.
And you're seeing in the first 20 minutes of this game the presence of the flanks for the United States. Heather O'Reilly on this side, Tobin Heath on the other, who's had a few chances, getting themselves involved, getting forward.
At the other end, no problems for the United States defense.
And that attacking presence is going to pay off. And as you mentioned earlier, Adrian, Tobin Heath being one of the players Pia brought in, she looked at 17 players during her 5-year tenure. 17 new players that she gave their first international cap. And the three that stand out in my mind, Alex Morgan, Tobin Heath, and Rachel Buehler are the ones that she really developed over her 5 years.
Abby Wambach in your picture, of course, was already very much a factor after her starring role at the 2004 Olympics. Pia Sundhage took over a squad at the end of 2007 who was somewhat in disarray, Julie. I think it's fair to say that. Post-World Cup in China. Because you termed it a team that was lacking a real identity.
And they just didn't seem to be enjoying the game. I think that's what she's brought back, is laughter and fun. And she sings to them in the locker room. We've all heard the stories.
Alex Morgan with the shots. And we've all heard the songs as well from Pia Sundhage. You can forget feeling groovy during the German World Cup. I don't think I can.
And you know, that's not something new to her that came about as a coach. She used to do that when we played against her. We would chant for her to go up on stage at banquets, you know, back in the 80s and 90s playing against Sweden. And of course, she would get up there and perform.
If you didn't know about Pia Sundhage's musical talents, the United States presenting her with a guitar in LA. This is Lisa Devanna trying to present a problem and has done. Well, Sarah Walsh was looking for the subtle touch at the near post. Devanna in a flash was in the clear.
And Devanna can be quiet, and then all of a sudden, as great players do, she bursts through. And what a nice ball and run as well by Sarah Walsh to see. I'm going to get to that near post. What a good look for Australia. And on the field tonight are probably two of the fastest players in the world. And Lisa Devanna, number 11 for Australia, and Alex Morgan for the United States.
Would be really interesting, wouldn't it, Julie, see a race between the two of them. Here's Alex Morgan showing her speed. One back in the middle for her. It's cut behind. It's O'Reilly who's arriving. Heather O'Reilly! And it deflects in! The United States have the lead. All smiles for Heather O'Reilly. I think it's going to go down as an own goal. Servette Uzenla was the unfortunate player for Australia. And look at the celebration. Out come the air guitars.
And you knew that outside flank play for the United States was going to pay off sooner or later. Both of them getting in. Alex Morgan getting in behind the defense, knows just to play it across. And Heather O'Reilly with the finish, drives it low. And if you keep it low, you can get a deflection. You can just get it on frame. You never know what's going to happen in a crowded box. But well done by Alex Morgan to pull it back and hope there was a second tier running on.
Yeah, wrong-footed everyone, didn't it? That cut back from Morgan. Uzenla and Brogan rooted to the spot. Well, we'll wait for official confirmation. The feeling is it will go down as an own goal. It almost has to, doesn't it? Servette Uzenla sending it beyond Brianna Davey. Sure, Heather O'Reilly would like to claim it, Jules, but sure that's going to happen. One back. Just a little off kilter with that layoff. Well, the US came from a goal down on Sunday at the Home Depot Center in Los Angeles. Now it's Australia who are facing the first half deficit. Here's Tegan Allen. Kaya Simon via McCallum, switching it to Catley. Good looking cross too. Kaya Simon rising to meet it. Here's quite a story. Kaya Simon actually an indigenous athlete, Aboriginal descent. Simon, number 17. She starred in a film, her and Lydia Williams, called No Apologies, which got rave reviews in Australia. Known for a blistering pace. She plays in the United States in the WPSL Elite with the Boston Breakers. Scored 9 goals this year for them. That's Cheney chiseling away on the near side and winning a free kick.
That's just a foul you do not want to give the United States in that position.
Caitlin Ford.
Because look at all those targets on the back post for the United States. Abby Wambach back there. Carly Lloyd hovering.
It's Cheney who delivers. Guided away from danger for now by Danielle Brogan. Morgan making herself available from the throw, and the US will settle for the corner as they keep the Matildas pinned back.
And Australia likes to go with 2 post players typically, and then the rest. Look at that, all of them man marking. Really, 2 players across the 6 zoning. A lot of space for Abby Wambach in particular. If she can get clear in that 6.
But not quite the corner the US were looking for. And Cheney taking the driven approach. So go back to the goal again, the cutback from Morgan.
And then Heather O'Reilly coming in on that 2nd tier, coming forward, just trying to drive it low. Just short little backswing, making sure she keeps it nice and low with that ball coming back to you. Made it look easier than it is. And oh, am I going to miss the goal celebrations of Pia? Even at 8-0.
She'll give us the Pia Pogo tonight, the Pia Leap on the sidelines, the air guitar she's come up with at times. Chases on here. Devana wins most of those chases. Has beaten Lepelbit, but Lepelbit, or rather Christy Rampone, I should say, stuck to her task with real aplomb there. And Rampone, Julie, was beaten by Devana for pace, and Australia scored their goal at the Home Depot Centre.
And how many times in my lifetime commentating have I said Christy Rampone beaten by pace? You just don't hear it very often. And it was impressive with the ball at her feet about 40 yards out. Just turned on the burners.
Now ESPN2's coverage of MLS continues. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, the Philadelphia Union will take on DC United, who are in a battle for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. MLS presented by Adidas, Thursday at 8 on ESPN2, also live on the Watch ESPN app. Glenn Davis and Taylor Twellman will have the call for you from Philadelphia, and a big result earlier tonight. Sporting Kansas City going to Red Bull Arena and winning by 2-0 as the shot from Devana sails too high.
And I think the challenge for this Australia squad tonight, we're looking at 30 minutes in. It's a much different first 30 in this game than on Sunday when they were flying all over the place. This is their 3rd game in a week, and this is a team, as you mentioned earlier, Adrian, doesn't play a lot of games, especially because they weren't in the Olympics this summer. They hadn't qualified. So game fitness is huge, and then on top of that, you have 10 teenagers on your squad of 20 players.
Yeah.
So a lack of experience and a lack of match fitness.
Well, they were the 3rd youngest team at the last World Cup, Australia, and they've only got even younger since that point. Here's one of their more experienced players, Claire Polkinghorne. She's found Devana. Devana's shot! And there's the equalizer for Australia. You just can't give her an opportunity inside the penalty area because she will make you pay. Davana has done it again.
Like I was saying, so much for the challenges, Adrian. And there she is, the speed, and what a wonderful finish. To get in behind, and then to have the presence of mind with Hope Solo coming off her line to just poke it. It's not going to be a big backswing. She's just going to get it under her, keep it low. Great finish.
Just as an impressive a finish as the one she produced in LA 4 days ago. That was a left-footed finish, but a very different sort of left-footed finish as the US looked to respond. And barge in the back by Polkinghorne, but no free kick. The US wanted one. Davana leading the back. This is Kaya Simon who's got around the back for Australia, but Hope Solo to the rescue this time. Now again, a lightning quick counter-attack by Australia. But this time Solo had it read to perfection.
And that's a challenge the two center backs for the United States have faced often, is how high do you start that line, because they're sometimes exposing themselves in behind, especially with the pace of a Davana and a Simon.
And here they go again. This time it's Sarah Walsh who's the target. Walsh for Australia! And on her farewell for the Matildas. It's a fairy tale story for Sarah Walsh. A goal to celebrate. And the Australians lead against the United States.
And only less than 10 minutes after the U.S. goes on the scoreboard, Australia bouncing back, getting in behind Kelly O'Hara. Another nice ball. A defensive clearance that should happen, really. Hope Solo coming off her line. And for Sarah Walsh in her last game, what a moment for her. And this is what Australia is known for. We've seen them time and time again in World Cups, especially under Tom Sermanni. This ability, similar to the U.S. squad, and what has been so endearing about them, to come back and to keep fighting.
The way the Australia bench celebrated that goal from Sarah Walsh just told you what she has meant to this team over the years.
And it's the beauty of soccer. 30 minutes where they look like they're on their heels, Australia. The U.S. is dominating, having their way. And then in the span of a few minutes, the game just flips.
Well, it's been a long, long time since the United States has lost on home soil. 2004 to Denmark, 60 games ago. Essentially, similar situation to the one they faced on Sunday. A goal down to Australia. About 10 minutes to go in the first half. Almost a catastrophe at the back again for the US. Rachel Bueller just about got out of jail. Sarah Walsh actually picked up a yellow card in the act of celebrating that goal. There's Kelly O'Hara, nicely flighted, just beyond Abby Wambach's range. Carly Lloyd, will she unleash one? Well, the door was quickly closed. Here is Walsh. 38 goals now for her, ties up for the all-time lead for the Matildas, for Cheryl Salisbury. Tegan Allen as the crowd try and pump up the US. And the Australians are nothing if not tenacious. And found a way to flip this game on its head. Tom Sermanni has been to 3 World Cups. on with the Australians. A bit of a mystery, really. In fact, they've missed the last 2 Olympics because their World Cup qualifying record is excellent. They've qualified for 5 in a row. Really confident turn and spin there by Caitlin Ford, who motors on. Cheney is back to take it away. Well, maybe a friendly, Julie, but these are two determined teams out there.
I was just going to say, something tells me, even though this is a friendly, that the U.S., similar to what we've seen in the last 2 years, give us all heart palpitations. They don't like to do it easy.
No, they don't.
Why would they change their way in a friendly?
They are determined to send Pia Sundhage out on the right note. Australia equally determined to send Sarah Walsh away in the right manner. And the result is quite an absorbing contest. Hope you're enjoying it with us. Adrian Healy, Julie Fowley and Monica Gonzalez on the sidelines. Here's Walsh. McCallum has the angle for the pass. Stephanie Catley has worked her way forward. A little isolated at the moment, 2 for company. Catley, who was the Australian Female Footballer of the Year, 2012.
And it just reinforces the fact of what speed can do to a game when you have it on the front line. Look how much Alex Morgan has changed the dynamic of the U.S. with her starting. And same with Elisa Devanna for Australia. You just never know because they can get you back in the game so quickly.
Devanna's goal was number 28 for her. Simon. Lloyd, though, hustling to get there first. And the United States spring forward with pace. One back, clever turn. 13 straight wins for the United States since that draw against Japan back in April, including all 6 their Olympic Games encounters: France, Colombia, North Korea, New Zealand, Canada and Japan.
Here's another thing you know about the U.S. team with all those wins is, and what I've so admired is they just don't panic. Look at the Brazil game at the World Cup in 2011, 122nd minute and a player down. Goal down, player down, and the equalizer by Abby.
The opening game of the Olympics, another example of that, 2-0 down to France, came back to win 4-2. Here's Christy Rampone getting forward.
Down 3 separate times to Canada. Semi-final of the Olympics. I mean, it's just so impressive, that mentality.
Christy Rampone in your pictures only ever scored 4 times in her 268 appearances for the US, but one of those goals came against Australia in a 9-1 win. You were part of, Julie. You can score that day. Here's Devanna. Lisa Devanna.
Not sure I believe it.
The follow-up shots. US under pressure again. The pressure relieved by that foul from Tegan Allen. Lovely flick from Alex Morgan. She knew where Abby Wambach was. Now she sprints on to receive the return. Can't quite get there. Brianna Davey is belying her 17 years of age.
She has been impressive. Only her 3rd international appearance in that game on Sunday in LA. She made some big saves for Australia to keep them close.
Breaks the way of Sarah Walsh. One back hungrily by Rachel Bueller. Kelly Lloyd, and it goes to Tobin Heath. In turn to Kelly O'Hara. Alex Morgan, and they've worked this well. Kelly O'Hara back to Morgan. On the left foot, Alex Morgan continues an astonishing 2012. Morgan equals more goals for Alex. It's number 23 of the season. The United States back on level terms.
And it all starts with Tobin Heath with the nutmeg pass. And then Kelly O'Hara continuing her run. And what a nice little cut back to Alex Morgan. And soft touches, brings it down, takes a second one just to clean it up. And you see the goal-scoring presence she has inside the box. What a great finish, because not much angle, not much space there. But give credit to Kelly O'Hara for finding her in that little seam. Kelly O'Hara, no stranger to offensive penalty boxes either. She was a star forward at Stanford, of course.
What a finish by Morgan. She found it unerringly, didn't she? There was such a small window to aim for at that far post. What a game we've had here. 2-2, and the promise of more goals in the air before the night is done.
And what a boost to your mentality though for the U.S. Reeling a little bit from those two fast goals from Australia to put them behind, to go in at halftime. Breathing a sigh of relief and able to regroup and come out strong in the second half, which you know they will be.
O'Hara. It's almost shades of that Canada game and that never to be forgotten Olympic semi-final, isn't it? Teams trading blows.
I didn't think you could find another women's game as exciting as Brazil, the quarterfinal of the World Cup, and then just a year later it happens. What a classic that was instantly.
And the two latest goals scored in any FIFA competition in those two games. Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan. 1 minute of stoppage time is going to be added on. O'Reilly's cross. Brianna Davey had to be sure, and she was. He plays for the Melbourne victory at home. The Australian players will be heading back tomorrow to their pre-season. The W League season begins in October. Stay with us at half-time, because we'll send it back to our studios. Max Brados and Tony DeChico standing by. Interesting to hear what Tony has to say on the future of women's soccer. Devana tries to get the cross in. We also have some Champions League action, some MLS highlights for you to enjoy at half-time, so stick around for that. Plenty to look forward to in the second half. A game that has swung one way then the other. Lisa Devana very much in the thick of the action. Do it. Time for us all to get our breath back. Great first half, Julie.
A great first half. And for Australia, the mentality for them will be, how can we sustain it in the second half? Unlike what happened on Sunday, where the U.S. just came out firing and rolled over them.
Goals to savour for supporters of both teams. The United States getting their noses in front, courtesy of the own goal, we think, from Servette Uzenla. And then Sarah Walsh, the big goal for her and a big goal for Australia. 2-2 at halftime. Tony DeChico and Max Bredos after the break.